In June of 2017, my friend Eric and I went to E3, the first time it was ever open for the public to attend. Alright, so we made it. We're in LA now. We're in our room. It's nothing too fancy. I mean, it's really nice for the price. We got a great deal on it, like not even like $70 a night, and everyone else is going for like $250. We're nowhere near the downtown area where the convention center is. We're pretty far away. We're going to be taking a trolley or tram, metro, for about 50 minutes to almost an hour just to get down there, because we are definitely not going to park down there. So yeah, we're going to try and get our game plan together about what we're going to do tomorrow once it starts, but once we figure that out, I will let you guys know. We documented most of the trip, but in our excitement we forgot to give a day-by-day analysis of what we saw. But we did on our drive home and on the way to the airport. Here's what we thought about some of the stuff at the first public E3. Alright, so E3 is over. Day 3 was yesterday. We're on our way back to San Diego. Pretty good stuff they had there. Honestly, it was different than what I thought it would be. I kind of figured with how every year on like YouTube and everywhere else, it's kind of like you're just getting hit with info and game reveals, game announcements, this and that, and this so much information. You think it's like you go there and there's just a million things to do and you can't possibly do all of them, when in reality, when I got there, I don't know how Eric felt, but it was more of, okay, there's some cool stuff here, and you can play some games, but you gotta wait in line for 4 hours. It was more like, it's kind of like Disneyland, honestly, for video games, which there's a bunch of cool stuff to look at, and things like that, and you can play some games, but you kind of had to devote your whole day to waiting in line just to play that game. So, it was cool in that sense to see all the developers of the games we love there, and to be able to actually talk to them and, like, you know, say, hey, I love this about this game, you know, and you could tell they really appreciated it. They took it to heart. We played a few games. We played a lot of Ubisoft games, actually, because their booth was, in my opinion, the best overall booth, because they had, well, I think it was 6 of their games set up for people to play. They had Assassin's Creed Origins, they had Rainbow Six Siege, which honestly we don't know why they were there.
I think they had the Year 2 expansion stuff there.
Okay, so they were showing off the Year 2 expansion stuff most likely, because we were like, this game's already out, but they had the Velvet Operations, or...
I didn't see a point in playing it. I've already played it. So.
Exactly, like we already played it, and we looked and they didn't seem to be doing anything different than what we've already been playing, so we let that go. I didn't play that, but let's see. They had Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six Siege. They had the Fractured But Whole, which, you know, has been delayed a lot, and I think we're both totally looking forward to that. So we definitely got our hands on that. They had Mario Rabbids, which isn't really something I'm interested in, but if you are, they had that there. That was pretty cool to see. It was kind of funny, the trailer they showed. And then they had The Crew 2, and it was alright. I mean, I played The Crew 1, and it was kind of like, it was hard to, the physics weren't that great, and the whole overall idea was kind of confusing. I couldn't keep playing the game because, honestly, I beat a campaign mission, and I couldn't find where to go for the next one. I searched the map left and right, and there was, I don't know if it was just like kind of a go out on your own moment, or if I was supposed to go somewhere, but I couldn't find a way to progress in the game. So honestly, didn't play that, wasn't really that interested in it. The first one was kind of okay. And then there was one other one. I can't remember what it was, but there were 6. Can't remember. Anyway, Ubisoft booth was great. Played the Fractured But Whole, played Assassin's Creed Origins, and Far Cry 5. That was the other one. They had Far Cry 5 there. which was pretty big. I don't know how I could have forgotten about that one. So we played that too, and the demo was pretty short. It's actually, honestly, we played the exact same demo that they put up on the big screen as the developer demo.
So it was so short, we played the demo twice.
Yeah, you actually had time. The demo was so short, you just had a little town, and it said, all right, pick I forget, they call it contract or something, a gunner. It was basically like pick your helper. And so we picked we had a choice between a guy who was a pilot, a girl who was a sniper, and a dog named Boomer.
Pick the dog.
Yeah, I picked the dog too the second time around. So I picked the first time I played, I picked the girl who was the sniper. She went up to a tower, started sniping people. I just went in, guns blazing, killed everyone, and then the demo was over. And you see this like kind of a cinematic playing of all your helpers, I guess, or at least some of the ones you can have in the game. And then it restarts. It goes, okay, who do you want now? And so I was like, okay, let's go with the dog. So I picked him, and then the demo ended that time. And it was kind of like, the gameplay was, I mean, of course, this is all a demo, and it could easily change before they release the real game. But I don't know. I found the shooting kind of weird. Like, I found it really hard to hit somebody. I couldn't tell if I was hitting them or not, because I would be shooting at a guy, and it looked like the bullets going right into him, and he kind of either wouldn't react, or he would kind of just kneel down and stand back up. Like, I couldn't tell if I nicked him or if he was just trying to dodge my shots. But eventually he would die after I shot at him like 15 times. Just stuff like that. But Assassin's Creed, I mean, visually it looked great, fantastic. Gameplay-wise, it's hard to say because the demo they gave us was pretty short.
It was basically, go talk to this person, go get these 2 gold things he was talking about, go back, and that's it. You're done.
That's
literally it.
That's pretty much what it was. We just went. There was a gold statue on a boat and a gold statue under the water near the boat, and yeah, we just got it. It was basically just go and retrieve, bring back. You're a golden retriever in that, literally gold retriever in that mission. And so it was pretty, but they let you run around afterwards and just do random stuff. Although they didn't have any other missions. There would be people with mission icons over their heads. You go up to them and it would just say not available in E3 demo. And so
and you got stuck.
I did get stuck, actually, yes, and it was pretty funny.
Physically stuck.
Physically, yes. I was running up a wall, and I tried jumping to another wall, and when I hit it, I went into like a falling animation, and I actually got stuck there. I couldn't get off the wall, and then he started flapping his arms like he was trying to fly away, and it was kind of funny for me because there's been a million games I've played over the years where I'm like, man, I wish a developer was here right now so I could be like, what the hell is this? And the developer was right behind me, and I went, hey man, my guy's trying to fly away. And he goes, and he picks up the controller and he starts just like gyrating the analog stick around. And so I can't remember the main character's name in that game, but he just starts like rotating, flapping his arms, and I'm like, oh, this is just hilarious. And eventually, after like 5 seconds, he managed to jerk him off of the wall. But
then again, I did get stuck in Fractured Butthole too. I wasn't able to talk to the DJ, and then he was like, "Oh, just fart on him; it'll reset."
Oh, I remember that. He was right next to me. Yeah.
So I farted on him, and then I was able to talk to him all of a sudden.
So overall, Origins, it looks great. I think it has some potential, more potential than the last few games have had, because it's going more back to the roots. Obviously, it's called Origins, but it's not. It seems like it's going to be more about the whole Pieces of Eden and like the past games have been with the ones who came before, that kind of stuff, and less on the petty, like, in my opinion, petty stuff. Like the most recent games have been like Evie and Jacob Fry in Syndicate. I know they were like the most likable characters in recent games, but for me, it seemed like the game shifted more to the assassin's personal problems rather than the overall aspect of like the Templars and the assassins fighting over the Pieces of Eden to like save or destroy the world. And ever since Assassin's Creed 3 ended with Miles sacrificing himself to save the world, or I can't remember exactly honestly how it ended, it was so long ago, but it feels like it might be going more towards the whole overall, the bigger picture, rather than just his personal issues that it kind of felt like it was in, with Arno in the Unity game, which everyone hated the multiplayer in that, but I actually liked it. I played with him a lot, and I found it fun. I wish there was a little more variety of the missions you could do rather than just kind of, run-of-the-mill 4-player co-op. But, so, honestly, I think I'm still not sold on it if I'm going to buy it or not. I might. It all is really going to depend on what more details they come out with, more gameplay and options. In the trailer, they show him about to fight a giant snake, which is cool because I think they're incorporating some of the mythology back into the games to make it like mystical and just out there again rather than just based on kind of honestly boring history lots of the times. Like in Syndicate, I really didn't care about any of the history that was in it, or it just seemed to bore me. But overall, he hated it, I think. What was your opinion of it?
For what?
Assassin's Creed Origins.
I don't really care. I mean, I'm probably not going to get it.
Okay, so he's probably not going to get it. I already said a while back after Syndicate, I'm like, well, Syndicate was a gift for me anyway, so I don't think that really counts. But I told him, I swore off Assassin's Creed a long time ago until I said they were going to, like, either stop making them or just get their stuff straight. Because they're just losing sight of what made the first games great and all that. And honestly, it looks like they've already done that pretty much with Origins, but like I said, we'll see. But they did last year was the first year they haven't released an Assassin's Creed title since I think the games first came out. Like every year consecutively. And so
that really kills it.
Yeah, and we were actually in line for the Fractured But Whole, and a lady came up and asked us to do a little questionnaire thing on an iPad, and one of the questions after playing Assassin's Creed was, how do you feel about this title? And we had 4 options. One was, this takes Assassin's Creed in a new direction and I like it. It takes it in a new direction and I don't like it. Or it feels the same and I don't like it. Or it feels the same and I do like it. And so they're obviously aware that players are saying that this game doesn't really feel like how it used to, and it's just kind of, lost what made the other ones great. And so you can tell that they're trying to go back to trying to refine what made the first game so great and everything. And so at least I'm glad at least they're aware of it and they're trying to fix it, because I love the series. It was great. And I do think that they just need to stop trying to churn out a game. Whoops. He did that on purpose. They need to stop trying to churn out a game every year and just focus on what made the first ones great. The gameplay's weird though. As Assassin's Creed veteran, I kept trying to hold down the right trigger to run, and you can't. That's like a heavy attack now, and the right bumper is a light attack. And when you push the analog stick to walk a certain direction, you just run. Like there's no walk anymore, unless I guess you dial it back a little bit and don't push all the way, you just walk. But when you push, it's like full-on sprinting. You don't have to hold A or the right trigger anymore or anything like that, which for me, I found it hard to do. And Y is assassinate now, and I was like, what? I'm like running up to people, and instead of assassinating them, I was like bringing my weapons in and out, and then
on the shoulder.
And then they'd hear me switching weapons or like sheathing them, then pulling them back out, and I'm trying to hit X to assassinate, and then the guy would turn around and see me. So that kind of sucked, but I know only time will tell for that series and that title. So yeah, so far, he doesn't like it. I mean, I want to like it, but at the same time, I'm not sold on it yet. So there is that. So there were a few games there we did not play at all, or even try to play, because the lines were so ridiculously long, as we mentioned before, that there was no way in hell we were getting in line for those games. Call of Duty World War II was one of them, probably the biggest one.
4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours.
That's half the day.
Yeah, that pretty much, actually, let's see. Yeah, that almost was the entire day one day. And then they shut it down at 4 o'clock. So the last 2 hours, or at least on the first day they did, so the last 2 hours you couldn't even get in line. So basically it was all day that day if you were waiting in line. So definitely didn't do that, although we're not too bummed out. It wasn't single player or anything, it was just multiplayer missions. I mean, yeah, multiplayer sessions that were like, I don't know, at the most, maybe like 5 minutes. It just looked like team deathmatch, maybe something like that. What else? Oh, Destiny 2. Didn't try that in, again, like 3 or 4 hours. Personally, not that big of a fan of Destiny. He wanted to play it, but when he saw how big the line was and stuff, then it, like...
And everything looked the same, if not similar to the first one.
Yep, so. That's another reason I didn't feel like playing it, because I looked at the gameplay, and we even saw there were ships floating in space in between sessions.
The menu looked the exact same.
The menu is the same. The weapons and gameplay honestly look pretty similar. The ships that were floating in space looked way sleeker. Like they looked brand new, like all sleek and futuristic. Like they looked like a B-2 stealth bomber. That's about it. Like they were like white with like some nice blue trim or something like that, but they were like super sleek like a bomber. Other than that, it looked almost the same, unfortunately. So, and I kind of predicted that because pretty much all their DLCs were the same for the last game. It was just the same thing, just different, you know, like here's an expansion, do these missions, and then eventually grind for a raid. And I don't like games like that. So personally, I already kind of counted it out, and it looks like it could be right, we could be right, that it's just kind of more of the same. Hopefully they change things up. We didn't play that. And then Wolfenstein, I wanted to play because I've never played a Wolfenstein game before. I've heard of it, and I've seen gameplay of older games. And I was watching the trailer near the Bethesda booth, which was a letdown, let me just say. I went there, and the first interview we saw was super awkward. It's like the guy's talking there, he never had spoken publicly before, and he kept fumbling, and then they were talking to some of their developers or something, and the guy was wearing shorts, and he put his leg up and crossed it over him. You could see straight with the camera angle they had for the big screen, you could see right down his thigh, his nice pasty white thigh, right down the back where his underwear was. And
you couldn't even hear them when they were talking.
Yeah, and you couldn't even make out what they were saying. They were either way too quiet or the volume wasn't turned up, and it was just, I started taking video of it, and then I just stopped it and said let's go, because it was just, it was pretty embarrassing.
Wow, that was awesome. I love that trailer. It makes me want to get out there right now and kick some Nazi ass. Guys, welcome to the Bethesda E3 2017 live stage. I'm Gary Steinman, and with me here are straight from Machine Games, straight from Sweden, Jörg Gustafsson, executive producer, and Jens Matthias, creative director. Say hi. Hi. Hello. So, we're going to spend a good half hour talking about the new Colossus, but before we jump into that, let's look back a little bit. I don't know if we were necessarily surprised, but a pleasure for us was that the game we did was the game we set out to do. And we had some pretty wacky ideas about what we wanted to do with Wolfenstein.
So yeah, no Wolfenstein, the new Colossus for us. The booth they had it in was really cool.
It was like a diner that you would play Wolfenstein 2 in.
Yeah, and which made it hard for me. I couldn't get video of people playing it because of that.
There were like blinds on the windows and stuff, so you couldn't see in.
Yeah, because the other booths, they were like just kind of sat there with a low wall behind them. You could walk right up and record what people were doing. And Wolfenstein, since it was in a little like diner type setup, you couldn't do that. And I wanted to play it, and we looked at the line one day, and it was like twice as long as lots of the other lines. And it wrapped around the entire, not even their booth, but like all the way down this long hallway. People had been there for, again, like 4 hours, and we're like, yeah, no, that's not happening. But it looked cool. Interesting game. I might rent it at least just to play the campaign to see what it's all about, because the gameplay looked really fun. And that was the first and second days, pretty much. First 2 days right there. First day we kind of just walked around, saw what there was to do. Second day is when we really got in line, mostly at Ubisoft, and started playing their games. And then, yeah, that was pretty fun. And then we came to day 3. Look at that, we changed clothes. Alright, day 3, by far, and it's weird why, by far for me, best day of E3. I don't know about you. Also best day. And I think it was the best day because we didn't do anything except for one thing. Since we had already pretty much done everything we wanted to in the first 2 days. On the third day, we were kind of just like, oh, well, let's just try and find random stuff we haven't done yet and do that. And all the lines for the games were still way too big, the ones that we hadn't played. So we're like, yeah, we're still not going to do that. We don't want to waste our whole last day. And then we found this little Intel booth that was...
Gaming PC show.
Gaming PC show, yes. And we went there, and they had some Oculus Rifts that they were playing with. And we were like, hey, the line's super short. I mean, it was a wait, but I was like, when you got in line, you were like number maybe 10 in line. So we got in line, we waited, and we played a VR game with the Oculus Rift called Echo Arena. And it's apparently like the multiplayer version of a game that's coming out called Lone Echo. And we had so much fun with that. I've never played VR before. That was my first time playing anything VR, and I was like addicted to it. I was like, this is freaking awesome. I want one right now. We liked it so much that we actually went back in line and stood in line for like another hour just to play it, because just the demo itself is like maybe 20 minutes, because everyone who plays, the two developers, one for each team, has to show people how to do stuff every time, and once they learn, then they start a match, which is 5 minutes, and it's usually around a 20-minute wait time total, and there's only 6 people who can play at a time. So we had so much fun with that we just kept doing it. And if you've never seen the game, it's kind of like a mix between Ender's Game from the movie, where they're like in the arena at 0G, like just floating around trying to like score points, or I can't remember exactly how the movie goes. I've never actually watched it, but it's kind of like that, where you're floating around, but you're robots, and you have a little disc that you kind of got to pass to each other, and it bounces off stuff, and you got to get it into a goal. But the gameplay is so much fun since it's in 0G. It just opens up like a ton of possibilities of things you can do. And he was lined up, we were stacked up on a ring that launches you out into the arena if you hold on to it. And I was holding on to his shoulder, because if you pull the middle finger button on the little, I forget the Oculus controllers, I don't know what they're really called, but it basically clenches your hand in the game, and you can use it to climb on stuff, kind of like Spider-Man. And it was super fun, because he was lined up holding on to somebody, and I grabbed onto his shoulder, and we were all waiting. And then as soon as we launched, I was just hanging on to him, and we were both flying, and then I would pull off of him and push, and I would go flying even faster. And when we were waiting in the lobby for the developers to show the new people how to play the second time we played, we found like some toys that were just floating around in the little lobby space room, and we started playing baseball with a little bat we found. He would throw the ball, and I would just smack it, and it was so much fun. And the videos on YouTube don't do it justice, because you can't just get the feel of being there with like the whole surrounding viewpoint thing, and just playing it is so much more fun than just seeing it on a screen. And I can't wait for it. I want an Oculus now. So I told the guy that as I left. I'm like, well, I was afraid this would happen. Now I want an Oculus Rift, and they're like $600 for the good package with the little controllers. But it was just a ton of fun, and it's a free game they're releasing next month, June 20th, 21st, something like that. July. And so I'm definitely probably gonna get it. You know, there's $600 I'm probably gonna blow on it. But apparently there's 7 other free games that they're releasing for it, so if you have it, it should be good. But yeah, that was by far the most fun we had in the entire trip. And the detail, honestly, like, the graphics are great for something that like is that fluid. It has a really high frame rate, obviously, so it looks real. And the texture quality is fantastic too. Like, I would hold on to something, and I was looking at my arm and other people as I was kind of grabbing onto them and spectating and stuff, and you could see tiny little scratches along the edges of the metal on their bodies, because they're robots. And they have fabric coverings in some parts, and you can see the stitchings, and just like, it's really like, when you get right up to it, you feel like you're really looking at something that close. You can see all these tiny little details they put in, and I was blown away with it. Totally hooked on VR now, at least the Oculus VR. I can't wait for it. You know, I'm gonna wait for a little while until around when the game comes out, but I'm definitely probably gonna get it. So, but yeah, that was day 3. It was a great way to end it. We drove back the other day. That's why we changed clothes. My phone filled up. Forgot to record it before I was heading back to the airport, which I'm doing now. But yeah, I'd say, okay, overall 1 out of 10. What would I give E3 for actually being there as a consumer, not someone from the media or the industry and stuff? Honestly, I'd say it was probably like an 8 or a 9. It was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't as overwhelming as I thought it would be, like I said in the very beginning. There's not like a ton of stuff to do. There's a ton of stuff to see, but that doesn't mean it's all interesting stuff to you, or that it's stuff you can play. only a few booths actually had something you could play, and of course the lines were like worse than Disneyland, so that kind of brought it down, that there were all these games, but the lines were so freaking huge because they only had like maybe, 12 computers set up playing it when there's 1,500 people there who all want to play it. But yeah, I give it around probably like an 8 out of 10. What would you give it?
Maybe like a 7.
You gave it a 7 because I can understand that. So, but yeah, it was a great trip, and we'll see what's apparently going to be there next year. And I'll see if I'm even going to go for that, because for me it all depends on what's going to be there. Like when I bought my ticket, it was supposed to be Red Dead was one of them. Then they dropped out, and a bunch of other people. But it was still a good time. I just would have liked to see them. But yeah, so it's a good time, and I'm going to be posting other videos about like just all the raw footage I got from the show floor, and it doesn't really have any audio from the game because I just had to stand behind people and record it while they played it. So if you want like the actual audio and a bunch of other stuff, you can go watch maybe another channel's videos that has a bigger one that has the actual recorded gameplay on there. But if you want to see what it looks like for actual, regular people playing the game and getting the hang of it, regular gamers, then I'm going to be putting that up too, so you guys can check that out. But yeah, that was E3 2017. Thanks for watching, guys.